Good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen. Allincrypto here, and welcome back on this smashing Saturday for another jam-packed daily cryptocurrency market update. I'm hoping you are all having a wonderful weekend so far. As always, if you are new to this channel and finding yourself on my videos for the first time today, don't forget to smash that subscribe button because we drop an update just like this one around 1 p.m. UK time every single day to help you guys stay up to date with the latest and greatest things happening within the crypto space, but also the broader markets, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this video. I did drop a video, a walk and talk, earlier today of me talking more about the broader kind of macro landscape and why we think the Fed is about to step in and start providing liquidity to the markets based on a number of things. Most importantly, what's happening with the bond market, TLT, the treasuries, and the kind of volume that we're seeing at a point where we are now turning bullish on bonds. I never thought I would say that. But the question, of course, needs to be derived from that in regards to, well, why are we seeing this technically, and who's going to be the buyer of debt at a time when interest rates are coming down, at a time when the reserve repo is getting drained? In my opinion, it's going to be the Fed. Jerome Powell on Thursday, was it? Might have been, yeah, Thursday came out in front of Congress and said they're very close to where they need to be. But we covered that earlier. We also cover the macro regularly. We cover the broader markets, the dollar, of course, importantly, and everything to do with that. And it helps us derive our opinion in regards to where we think the crypto space is going, because it's still a part of this kind of, environment of markets, finance, whatever you want to call it. And it's becoming more and more a part of that. And we're going to be highlighting that in this video. We're going to be talking about yesterday. So yesterday, Bitcoin smashed 70K. Smashed, not the right word. I'm going to retract that statement. Bitcoin kissed 70K. And of course got rejected. Coinbase went down again, and there were some issues, and this has led to a lot of speculation in regards to our Coinbase pulling some kind of funky business going on in regards to servicing their institutional clients over retail clients and kind of engineering. It's interesting because whenever we get to these highs, the price kind of crashes. Let me show you that. I'm talking about all this. We've got a lot to get into today, guys, as always. I'm sorry you're going to have to sit through me rambling about it all, but we will get into it all the same. So you guys know our big time frame views on Bitcoin has been following perfectly. The market loves us, and when we get things right and it gives us good feedback, we go with that. Let's drop down the time frames and look at yesterday's event. So typically, this is not that good a structure, but Bitcoin yesterday went on a real run, smashed into 70K, and then got harshly rejected. Of course, sold off, what was this in terms of percentages? Roughly by about 5%, only to reclaim it. And this big wick, this is ETF inflows and gobbling up of Bitcoin, and our Coinbase kind of in some roundabout way with the downage or outage of their platform engineering this. Their markets are manipulated. People cry about it. Don't cry about it. Understand it, learn from it, and make money from it. You're never going to, the entire world, most things are manipulated and unfair. That's life, okay? We're not here to appease and try and promote a false narrative that, everything is hunky-dory. We know it's not. We cover it regularly on this channel. Go watch that video I did earlier in regards to what's going on. But our Coinbase somehow causing this or being a factor in this, and as a result of it, gobbling up Bitcoin. So this is not typically bullish structure. However, it's reclaimed, and this is a bull market. And we've said, don't be greedy on these dips. Get on the right side of the trend and make money from it. I'm going to be sharing some of the altcoins that I have in my portfolio that I reserve for my patrons. If you become a patron, you're not my full portfolio. It's a healthy portfolio considering we got back into the market in January 2023. One of the first people to dive back in. Got altcoins up 500% at this point. I know to some that might not be impressive, but we've got multiple 200, 300%. There's not one position in my portfolio that's down. And of course, I have a group of people that will vouch for that. You can check the link out in the description. We really do care about people and want them to make money and get on board this. And we cover lots of stuff on the channel. But is there some sort of something going on with Coinbase and thus the manipulation of markets? Also, I want to talk about the fact that Greyscale and Coinbase actually met with the SEC, I believe it was yesterday, or it could have been Thursday. It would have been Thursday night for me. We'll talk about some opinions on all that in regards to an Ethereum ETF. We also spoke about Prometheum, who's a kind of snake in the grass, in my opinion. The only people with a special broker-dealer license awarded by the SEC, who's apparently fully compliant, but it's kind of almost hinting that they think Ethereum is a security, which is kind of contrary. The CFTC took beef with that. There's never, my job's so easy. There's never a dull moment in this space. I'm going to go over to Brian Armstrong's Twitter. Now, I like Brian. I like Coinbase. We are Coinbase stock owners, and we have been since the sort of 40, $30 range. But he didn't report on this at all. Neither did Coinbase, which is kind of strange to me. There was no report. They did on the one, but not on the one that took place yesterday. And I have information that the smaller kind of Coinbase accounts, it kind of got clogged, but the larger ones were still reporting to me that they were still being able to use their Coinbase and they hadn't gone out. That's kind of strange. There's something fishy going on with Coinbase and the price of it. And I think it's a weird place that Bitcoin's in because it's at new all-time highs and it keeps getting rejected. You know, it kind of makes sense to take it as a trade. But don't be greedy. Look at the last time we smashed all-time highs. It was only a short little blip before we went right through it. And I think a similar thing's going to come because of what's fundamentally happening that was all technically signaled. And this is where we got our inverse head and shoulders from, the bigger one, just like the smaller one. Technically signaling that things were going to go up, and you get the fundamentals after. The news always comes after the technicals because insiders are privy to information, just like the dollar selling off into non-farm payroll and all the data that we had yesterday being kind of negative. Non-farm payroll was good, but the revisions weren't on the prior one. You know, there's this kind of puzzle that you've got to solve with the markets, and if you can do that, you'll do very, very well, and we try and help people do that. But there was an interesting tweet actually from the British Hodl who's kind of speculating on this, and we'll use his tweet as a bit of speculation, see what he has to say. Then we're going to talk about Eric Belentunas, who of course is the guy to follow when it comes to ETFs. And then we've got a number of other things. Remember that BlackRock are also, as of yesterday, and we covered it in yesterday's video, now buying themselves Bitcoin to hold in their fund, in their global fund. You know, they get their Bitcoin typically. Coinbase is a factor here in the whole thing because they are the custodian for most of the ETFs. So this is from the British Hodl. Another Bitcoin maxi, but I won't hold that against him. This is speculation, but there has to be some Bitcoin manipulation going on here by Coinbase. How can you have 4 years to prepare your system, have the majority of demand coming from institutions, and still the server crashes every time we breach all-time highs? Here's what I think happened. Bitcoin breaks all-time highs, market starts running, and OTC desk runs out of Bitcoin. I think this is plausible, actually, by the way, guys. Bull market prevention team at Coinbase steps in and shuts down the engine. I don't believe they have a prevention team, but you know there could be something going on here. Retail panics, trading algos start dumping, and the OTC desk gets flush again. Again, this would kind of explain technically. We'll dive over to the charts very quickly. Sorry to keep jumping around, guys, but this is all the charts are as a representation of what's going on. So this is what they're talking about. New all-time high, prevention, OTC runs out of desk, slams down, gets eaten up by OTC desk, and then continues in the direction. So I can see technical merit for what this guy's saying. And you guys know that I'm a purely technical investor. Of course, I do look at fundamentals. To move on, Coinbase turns back on. The engine allows BlackRock, Fidelity, and the big boys to buy up all the Bitcoin. If this is not happening, then Coinbase is proving to be the most incompetent exchange, and I believe BlackRock and others are trying to hold their feet on the fire in the background. But as we all know, incentives line up perfectly for Coinbase to go down. Very interesting. Hey, Coinbase, so you can bring in $1 billion in one day for Bitcoins, ETFs, when the price is below all-time highs, and all is well. The second the price goes above all-time highs, with a fraction of the demand, it crashes. Make it make sense. Brian Armstrong, even the Bitcoin ETF providers know what is happening. And this, of course, is from, I think this is Bitwise's CEO. Yeah, it is Bitwise's CIO, sorry, not CEO. It's a bad look for sure, but will it change anything for their business? On an immediate basis, I doubt it. Coinbase crashes all the time in past bull markets. Yet it still grew like crazy. That's actually a theme through internet history. Yep, Facebook crashed all the time, so on and so forth. As for the ETFs, not much direct impact. The retail side is what's crashing. Yes, so it's retail that they're kind of shaking out of this. So I actually give a tip my hat to this guy and what he's talking about. Actually, I can see a little bit of not only technical merit in it, but also I think the narrative could potentially be there. Let's talk about Coinbase Stock, because this is a monster for us. And it could have been a monster for you guys. And actually, we've spoken about it very vocally on the channel. Look at this. This is well on our way to a target of $433. Remember, this was all given pre. We gave a smaller target down here, and we've been accumulating in the low range here. It's been doing exceptional for people. You know, just like, I mean, even things like Amazon and others such as are progressive, but we don't want to go down that route. So are Coinbase manipulating the market? The ETF side of things seems to be working tickety-boo, and actually we're seeing continuously, as we have done, huge inflows. This is from Eric yesterday. Something is in the water again. The 10 Bitcoin ETFs have seen a big day worth of volume in the first 2 hours, on pace to beat Thursday's wild $10 billion inflow. IBIT alone is 2.2, which is BlackRock's Bitcoin shares. Remember, they announced they were going to start buying Bitcoin themselves. $1 billion a day is big boy levels. To talk about kind of where Bitcoin finds itself in regards to gold, and let's move the screen so you can see this. This is Bitcoin versus gold ETFs. You can see how fast things are heating up. You know, and it makes total sense that they'd be accumulating at these levels just as we're about to break into price discovery, which is likely going to be explosive. Remember, we got technical targets 150K. Yeah, I would like Bitcoin to have a bit of a rest, but it's hard for me on the short term to be trading this because Bitcoin's at an all-time high, and I'd rather wait for confirmation that we break through. It's risk. You know, I puked a leverage trade yesterday at a loss. Been a great week for us, but sometimes you just got to give a little bit back to the markets. Some really interesting things going on. And actually, if we look at sort of exchange, Bitcoin on exchanges, you can see this. You can see just how far it's coming down. And the Bitcoin price is doing the opposite. And this is all pre-halvening. So there's no way you can be bearish on Bitcoin. There are some. You know, Capo potentially is one. I'm convinced that he's a bot and not a real person at this point. To cover some other news that's relative. So in regards to Bitcoin, just to finish off with where we're at, you know where we're at if you watch this channel daily, and it's where you should be at. We've put forward a technical roadmap. The market's given us good feedback. It's followed it, and we expect it to continue to do so until we see any other reason to deviate. There's some great setups in altcoins. We've covered many of them on the channel. Get on board. You know, even things like Chainlink bouncing exactly where we thought they would. You know, it's all is well in the land of crypto. It's an amazing time to be in this space, and we hope no one's missing out on it. Grayscale and Coinbase met yesterday with the SEC about a spot Ethereum ETF. Coinbase and Greyscale met with the SEC this week, sharing information to support their push to secure regulatory approval for a spot Ethereum ETF. Greyscale is trying to convert their Ethereum trust into a spot ETF. The SEC approved a Bitcoin spot ETF in January. Now, I believe that they are going to get this approved, and I think this is based on, for me, always technically Bitcoin or Ethereum versus Bitcoin. So this is predicting for me that Ethereum is going to gain some monster ground against Bitcoin and also ETH DOM. Let's just bring that up. You're going to get an Ethereum ETF, guys, based on what I'm seeing technically. It looks good. It looks like Ethereum's going to really gain some ground. That's going to come, what's technically signaled will have fundamental news attached to it and be the driver of it. This is from Eric, who has a little comment. Great guy to be following, by the way, if you're not already. His Twitter is @EricBalanchunas. You can see it there. Do go and give him a follow and tell him ALLIN sent you. I'd like to be followed back by this guy at some point, hopefully. So normally I'd say this was a good sign, but as far as I know, the staff has not given any comment yet to the issuers, which is not a good sign, as we passed when they gave comment on the Bitcoin ETFs. Further, there's no court loss hovering over, and the correlation BT futures and spot isn't as strong. Not nearly as optimistic here versus Bitcoin ETF. We will update as new information comes forth. And you can see this is the actual meeting. So a hell of a lot going on. We'll try and keep you up to date. What do you guys think about Coinbase? It seemed a little fishy to me. It makes sense, actually. It also makes sense from a technical point of view. It sucks for somebody like me as a trader who's trying to trade these markets on a daily basis. But that's why the vast majority of my money is invested for the more longer term. I think personally my approach with trading is it's a very small amount of my overall worth. And yeah, that's really all I've got for you guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed this content. If you have, a like is always appreciated. So is a comment. Don't forget to check out the Patreon. Come give me a follow over on Twitter @RealAllinCrypto. Check out our website, allincrypto.com. It's growing at an insane rate. All is really well, and we're hoping all is well with you guys, and you're making money off this and having a great time doing it. That would make me very happy. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. I will see you all in the next one.